Hi everyone, Leanne here from Jaded Blossom, and I have two fun cards to share with you today. Hey, so I'm using Jaded Blossom's Gnome dies Fall Add Ons. They're label shaped dies, they're Gnome dies Thanksgiving Add Ons, Scalloped Square dies, Stitch Square dies, our Sunflower stencil, and our Acorn stencil. And I ink blended those on our last release and review video. And you can watch me do that there. And I went ahead and I cut them out with our Stitch Square die. So quickly what I'm doing here is I'm just going to be inking up the edges of this, or inking up this Acorn die. There we go. And I'm just coloring in the little dots on this sunflower die. So that's honey nut cardstock from Paper Tray Ink, and then the dark colored cardstock is dark chocolate cardstock from Paper Tray Ink. So I'm just inking around the edges with that gathered twigs. And then I'm going to stick this little sunflower together. So the sunflower is from the Thanksgiving, the Gnome dies Thanksgiving Day add-ons. And then the Acorn was from the Fall Add Ons. So there we go, just stacking it up, weighting it with an acrylic block in between. And then I'm going to stack these two sunflowers up, but I'm going to stagger them so it looks like there's more petals. And then I will add the dark center to the sunflower and just weight it down. So now I am going to ink blend around that Acorn again. So I use Distress Oxide ink, or I use Distress inks in Distress Oxide ink, sorry, in Fossilized Amber, Ground Espresso, and Gathered Twigs. So that's kind of what I did there. And I use them for the ink blending of the background too. And like I said, you could watch that on the release and review video from that mini Thanksgiving Day release. So there we go. So I just put together my little Acorn and I'm going to weight that down. So first of all, I have a piece of Paper Tray Ink dark chocolate cardstock, 5.5 inches squared. So we have it's 5 by 5 by 11 squared at 5.5 inches to give you a vertical square card that's 5.5 inches. Then I'm adding my scalloped layer that is made at a Nina Desert Storm. Okay, and then that is my ink blended stencil that I did on the release and review for the Thanksgiving mini release. And I'm going to add that to some honey nut cardstock from Paper Tray Ink, and that it is 1/8 of an inch larger. And I'm using my ATG tape to, put this all together. So there we go. I'm going to pop that down. Now there is a boo-boo on this background, but I did cut it out when I used that Stitch Square die from Jaded Blossom. So fun stuff. And then I'm going to add a square piece of Nina Solar White 80-pound cardstock to the inside, at 5 1/4 inches. Or 5 inches square. Sorry, 5 inches square. And then I'm going to add a leftover piece of that ink blended background, like it's roughly a 1 inch width. And I'm just going to add that to the inside at the bottom of my layer. There we go. So, easy stuff, like I said. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing for the sunflower card. I'm going to use, this is a little over an inch. It was whatever was left over when I trimmed down my background. There we are. I'm going to add the scalloped layer. This is cut out of that honey nut cardstock from Paper Tray Ink again on the dark chocolate card base. There we go. So these cards are the same size. Now I'm going to add a dark chocolate frame to my stenciled sunflower Stitch Square. That's like I said, like 1/4 of an inch larger, or 1/8 of an inch. I think it's 1/8 of an inch larger. Sorry, guys. And then I will pop that down onto that honey nut scalloped square. I'm just adding a bunch of layers to make it look a little more special. And there we go. Now, if you want to watch me ink blend those backgrounds, like I said, that is on the Jaded Blossom mini Thanksgiving release and review video. So now I went ahead and I cut out Paper Tray Ink dark chocolate cardstock using the label shape dies. There we go. That's the largest one out of that shape. And I'm going to add some 3M foam tape to both of them. That's going to kind of be my anchor piece. There we are. And I will peel off the backing And then I will go ahead and pop that onto my card base. There we go. Kind of in the lower right-hand corner. You know, I'm just trying to, you know, give myself a little nest for what my images and my sentiment, you know, where they're going to end up on my card. There we are. So I'm going to do the exact same thing to this Acorn stenciled background. There we are. Actually, I used Honey Nut for the background of that one. Sorry, guys. And now I'm going to pop up my sentiment from that freebie from the last release, the what's it called? The Thankful Acorn and Outline Dies. So I went ahead and I stamped them onto Nina Desert Storm cardstock with VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink and cut them out using the outline die, and then I will pop them up. And you saw that I popped up my little Acorn that came from the Gnome Dies Fall Add Ons, but the sunflower came from the recent one, the Gnome Dies Thanksgiving Add Ons. So I'm just using one of the little, you know, add-on pieces for my card. So this one will say Grateful. Like I said, popping it up with Stampin' Up! Dimensionals for that one. And then this one will say Thankful for You. Same idea. I'm, you know, putting down some Stampin' Up! Dimensionals. There we are. So, you know, easy stuff, really. I like when I pop things up, I like them to be really level. I don't want them to, you know, dip and get squashed in the mail. So that's why I use so much foam tape and foam dimensionals. There we go. So I'm going to have Thankful for You. And then I'm going to have that little sunflower in the upper left-hand corner of that. There we go. And then I'm going to glue that sunflower down with some art glitter glue in the upper left-hand corner. There we go. Okay, so now I'm pulling out Jaded Blossom, Nouveau Vintage Drops and Chocolate Chip. And I'm going to sprinkle some of those around my Acorn, you know, just for a little bit of embellishment. And remember, these dry matte, which is nice. And then for this one, I start out using vintage drops in, I can't remember the color, is it Yellow Brick Road or something like that? But then I realized it's just too light. It didn't really go like, you know, I didn't really like the look of them. So I show you me using these first, of course, because this is my mistake, right? So I kind of look at them and I'm thinking, no, those are too light. So I change my mind and I pull out Nouveau Crystal Drops in English Mustard, and I just scrape off all of those old drops. Just try to be careful not to spread them. You kind of want to pick them up. And I kind of pick them up with 2 pieces of cardstock. That's how I fix my Nouveau Crystal Drops, if you ever wanted to know. This is kind of what I do. And then I'm going to replace those drops in the exact same spot with the Nouveau Crystal Drops in English Mustard. So these ones will be shiny, but they kind of matched my sunflower leaves or petals better. So that's, you know, you got to do what you got to do, people, right? And there you go. So thank you so much for stopping by. Be sure to hop on over to the Jaded Blossom blog and be inspired the Jaded Blossom store to get your hands on some of these amazing products. And thank you as always for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. And hopefully we will see you soon in my next one. Bye, everyone.